Hello, this is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor of ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest Baroque concerto disc ever. All right, maybe I'm exaggerating. One of the 2 or 3 greatest Baroque concerto discs ever. It's this one. Here you go. Take a look. Gustav Leonhardt with his own period instrument Nameless String Ensemble on the SEON label, doing Bach's Concerto in D minor, BWV 1052, and C.P.E. Bach's Concerto in D minor, Wotken 23. Isn't that easy? Now, I am completely confused, and in this respect, I am asking you experts out there who know more about these things than I do, probably. Now, Leonhardt's recorded legacy is just a mess, because he recorded the same stuff for every period instrument label known to humanity. He redid 1052 and the C.P.E. Bach for Deutsche Harmonia Mundi. Here's 1052. It's on here, but it was also recoupled with the C.P.E. Bach, but I think it's a different performance because these are marked that they're performed with Collegium Aurum, whereas these are Leonhardt alone with no name ensemble. And this, moreover, is available in the fabulous 85-disc SEON box, which I'm sure you all have. You know, this is the depressing thing about this, which is a great box. SEON was Wolf Ericsson's label, the famous producer who sort of discovered all these guys and then went on to do the Sony Vivarte recordings, But that thing was pretty cheap when it came out. Now I saw it on Amazon recently for like $800. It's right? So forget that. Forget the box. We'll be pulling things out of it every so often just because it was an easy way for me to consolidate a lot of my Baroque recordings in one box. But as I'm sure it was for you. But, I wouldn't recommend that you rush out and buy it. You have to try and find these separately. But, Leonhardt, he also recorded the Bach D minor for Telefunken back in the day, Das Alte Werk. I don't think he did it for Virgin Veritas, but he recorded for Virgin Veritas. He's all over the place. So I have no idea exactly what happened to this. All I know is that this is the one on SEON. And oh God, I love this disc. Let me explain to you why it's so great. First of all, the performance of BWV 1052, the D minor harpsichord concerto. Now, this concerto, as you know, has a tremendous mystique. It's arguably Bach's greatest single concerto, first of all. It's a big sucker. It's about 23, 24 minutes long usually. Although the period instrument folks speed it up, it really needs time to breathe, I think. Bach used it as the first movement as an organ concerto to preface a cantata, which is about suffering and misery, like most of his cantatas. And it was originally a violin concerto, and it has been deconstructed and then reconstructed as a violin concerto, so you can hear it that way. The part isn't difficult to restore, actually. And it's such a remarkable piece of music. It is probably Bach's grimmest orchestral work. It's grim, it's dark, it's a dark piece of music. And the opening, da da dum bum 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 ba da 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 dum ba da dum ba da da dum ba da da dum ba. And it just rumbles on with this relentless motoric intensity. It never lets up in the outer movements, never for a second. And they're long. It's like 8-9 minutes. It's fatiguing. It's really fatiguing. It's relentless. And the slow movement is one of those. It's like the Crucifixus from the B minor Mass. It's a lament over a ground bass, and it's that music. It's so sad. It's so dark. I don't know what Bach was thinking. It's a great piece, but I find it actually difficult to take. It's the Alan Pedersen of Baroque music, this concerto. It really is. It's so intense and so dark. But the thing that's so wonderful about this disc is that Leonhardt, who is directing from the keyboard, obviously, it seems to me this performance, of all the performances I've heard, gets the pacing just right. There's air between the notes a little bit. The music breathes and phrases. He has a beautiful sounding harpsichord that never for once makes you want to run away screaming or recall Thomas Beecham's adage, which I know somebody here has quoted already in the comments section, that the harpsichord sounds like two skeletons copulating on a tin roof. Well, not here. It does not. But the most wonderful thing about it is the coupling, the C.P.E. Bach D minor concerto, because it's so different. Whereas Bach, the father, is all motoric energy and relentless rhythm, and his son is just the opposite. It's totally crazy, random, eruptions and fragments and breaks and hesitations and dynamic extremes, and it's so wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And so you hear, and the fascinating thing about this is that, of course, they were working at the same time. The keyboard concerto is usually credited to J.S. Bach, Dad, but it wasn't. It was a joint project between father and son, because at the same time that Bach was writing his harpsichord versions of all of his other concertos, which were always written for early other instruments originally, they were all transcriptions, his keyboard concertos. C.P.E. was doing original keyboard concertos in his own style. And it's one of those fly on the wall moments. You just wish you could have been there, to ask them how they conferred and what they said to each other, and how they enjoyed each other's music, and where they thought they were in the history of recorded sound. I don't know, but this is such a fabulous CD, and so I'm just telling you about it because if you can find it, if you don't already have it, you owe it to yourself. You just owe it to yourself to hear it. It is the apotheosis of Bach's concerto style, paired with the new, expressive, late romantic, early classical Empfindsamkeit, the expressive style that C.P.E. Bach pioneered, and which made him, not his father, the most highly acclaimed Bach in his own lifetime, in the lifetime of any of the Bachs, really, because, as you know, his father worked largely in obscurity in Leipzig, and nobody was aware of just how great he was in his lifetime. Later, it started to come out largely because of C.P.E. Bach's work in promoting his father. So I just can't recommend strongly enough this beautifully recorded. I mean, Wolf Erickson, who was the producer, who I happen to know, was a brilliant producer, and he's one of those guys behind the scenes. But if it hadn't been for him, the period instrument movement as we know it never would have happened, never would have been recorded and presented to us the way that we have come to accept. I mean, this was his work. These were his artists. It was his stable. He developed them. They all went on to do other things, and they were all great. I mean, he had an ear. He had a tremendous musicality, and he receded into the background and let them take the credit. But a lot of the work was his, and it's just a wonderful tribute to Leonhardt, to Erickson, to the SEON label that he founded, to the nascent period instrument movement, which, when it got things right, did things that have never been surpassed, quite frankly. I mean, the Bach 1042 gets recorded constantly. I mean, very, very frequently, usually faster than it was done here, but never better. Never, ever better. And if you don't know the C.P.E. Bach keyboard concertos, then you really are in for a treat, because they are absolutely thrilling, exciting, passionate works that couldn't sound more different. And that's the joy of it. So keep on listening. See if you can find this. I can't even put it down. That's how much I love it. I have to put it back into its box over here. See if you can find this and give it a listen, and let me know what you think. Seriously, let me know what you think. I mean, you can't do badly if you get the other Leonhardt one with Collegium Aurum. That's not bad either, obviously, and you get the same contrast with the same concertos. It's, you can do that too. But if you can find this, Get it. Just get it. Trust me. You will be as passionately enthusiastic about it as I still am, and I've had it for decades, absolutely decades. Keep on listening, folks, and thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this chat, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There are so many more discoveries we're going to be talking about, and I just love to do this and have the chance to share them with you. It's just a wonderful gift to me to have you there so that I can share with you these amazing examples of supreme artistry in the music we all love so much. Thank you.